quite often I keep hearing, oh, the days of finding good deals at thrift stores are over. Which was ironic because one of the people who told me that and complained that their thrift store had nothing was also telling me about how they found an SGI Octane at a thrift store and it had all these nice cards in it too. Kind of funny how that works. But if you're not going to Goodwill, which throws all their electric crap in the recycler, or if you're not trying to find video games, you can still find great deals at thrift stores. And this is a good example. This is a Wacom Cintiq 18UX tablet. Well, 18SX, not UX. They've got all these dumb, confusing model numbers, and as you can see, it was $30. Gets power, says cables disconnected, unable to test as is. And this thing's in decent shape. Sure, it's kind of worn. Sure, it's got some of the classic issues you'll find with some of these devices. It also has, it has a bit of wear on the screen. You can't really see it too well. But it does have something trapped between the surface and the LCD panel, which is just cosmetic. It doesn't affect how it functions. But here's something to note with these tablets. So, right here, as you can see, there is a single cable. And the single cable goes from the back of the tablet, and I'm going to reposition this. So yeah, that single cable goes from the back of the tablet to break out into a few different cables. The power, and then the video cable, which is a DVI with the 4 pins, so you have to use an adapter if you want to use it with VGA, and USB and serial. This thing's a bit crooked. I don't have a stand for this, mind you. I'm literally setting this Cintiq up in a shoebox just so that it's off the floor, and so the cable that comes out the back of it is not being stressed, because these cables are permanently attached into the device. And if these cables get cut, good luck trying to reattach the cable, no matter how many college students who might find this thing at a recycler, if the cable's cut, would start running for it, thinking, oh, I can fix this. The problem is with these is it's one great big cable that does everything from power to that. And then you have to deal with the stand, which is a round sort of thing it mounts onto. I'll have to figure out a solution for that. I might ask around, see if it fits into another Cintiq stand, because I don't see any specific for this model on eBay or anything. I don't see any specific for it, but what I did find out was that instead of spending $80 for a pen, here's a good broke artist tip. Get yourself a tablet PC pen. This was from an HP tablet PC, and it works on a Surface Pro as well, the 1 and 2. And you're going to get yourself one of these pens. They will work on here for a fraction of the cost. Old tablet pens from other Wacom devices, such as the Surface Pro 1, the HP 2760s, TC4200, that sort of deal. Dell, I don't know if Dell used it, but I know Lenovo and HP used Wacom pens. You're going to want a stylus from a Wacom pen-enabled device, and it'll work because that light comes on. In fact, there's actually 2 lights here, a power light and a pen light, which indicates if the pen is on there. So, makes troubleshooting easier when you're having driver hell from Wacom. So, let's turn this PC on that I've hooked it up to just to test real quick. XP based, so definitely from the OS, at least, is from the era this tablet was made in, which this was actually made in late 2002. So this tablet is old. It's at least 10 years old, nearing 20 years old, and it still holds $150 to $200 on eBay, and I got it for $30. So the Cintiq is somewhat of an interesting device because if you've ever owned a Cintiq, you already know this. But if you don't, it basically acts as the computer's monitor, sort of like a tablet PC would. And so that means when you turn the computer on, when you boot it, it's going to load the OS through here. So the Cintiq, it's an older device from 2002, so it only goes up to 1080 by 1024. If you look close enough, you can still see pixels as well because it's an older device, but it was only $30, and unlike the modern devices with Retina and all, you're going to see pixels, but it's usable with your favorite programs like Photoshop, like Paint Tool Sci, the program that put, I think, like 90% of internet artists on the map. You could use it with that. You can use it with Art Rage. You can probably use it with Coral Painter. Haven't tried it though, but see, the program that put like all these internet artists on the map, and it works on the Cintiq. It works great on the Cintiq. Pressure works with this basic tablet PC pen, and yeah. See? Works great. Now I'm using the XP drivers. There are 7 drivers. In fact, the file I downloaded has drivers included for 7 as well. Might not work on 10 because you know how it is with old versions of Windows. They change stuff so that you have to buy new stuff every few years. And I bet you that's why this got dumped off, because somebody upgraded to Windows 10 or Mac OS X, some Mojave, and it probably broke support for it. But I bet if you took this thing and you put it on Linux, for example, it would probably work just fine. Even though Krita's on Linux and not Paint Tool Sci, and while Krita has the mascot every furry wants to smash, the problem is people are going to use Sci, or they're going to use Art Rage, or they're going to use something like that instead. But hey, on Windows XP, at least, and probably 7, everything works. Even erasing works when you turn the pen around. So yeah, point of this video though is that you can still find thrift store deals. I mean, I was coming up empty-handed every time I went to the thrift store for like a good few, like a month at least. Maybe 2 to 3 months at that specific store. But then I go in one day and I'm thinking, oh, this is another one of those times where I'm getting nothing, isn't it? I go back to like where they got the monitors, and there's this Wacom Cintiq just sitting smack dab in the middle of there. No pen. The cord was at least intact. The power cord was intact. And I've got a nice Wacom Cintiq. I'll just have to find a stand for it because it uses that weird round mount. So I'll ask around about what stand it uses. And yeah, at least on this Acer Aspire Pentium D that I hooked it up to test it to, it works great. So yeah, $30 well spent at the thrift store. You can still find deals, people. You just got to keep going. You got to be persistent. You got to be very persistent, because if you don't be persistent, you're going to blow it. The item's going to go, and it's going to like vanish. It's going to come and go, and you're not even going to know it because you weren't persistent enough. So, you want to get good stuff at a thrift store, be persistent. And also know which stores have the good stuff. Because that's how it works in this hobby. You got to know where to go to get the good deals. I sure do. And look at me, I've got a $30 Cintiq now. Thanks for watching, gamers, and subscribe for more.